Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. This is Joel Perez here, and we are here for your Clash of Champions 2017 review and results. And it is your official Clash of Champions 2017 review and results. It was the final pay-per-view of the year, and it was a Smackdown Live exclusive pay-per-view here tonight. And I can quite honestly tell you that going into this pay-per-view with no expectations really helped this pay-per-view out a lot, because going in with no expectations, WWE did give you something. And that's mostly because of the talent. The talent came out here tonight, and like they always do with these pay-per-views, they brought you some great in-ring action. But was this a good pay-per-view? By no means is this a good pay-per-view. And I can tell you that coming in, because there was no interest from me going into any of these matches, and that made a lot of these matches fall flat. I did not care about Natalya versus Charlotte in a lumberjack match, and I'm sure you guys didn't either. I did not care about the triple threat match for the United States Championship, despite what Baron Corbin, Bobby Roode, and Dolph Ziggler did in that ring, which they did a lot of good stuff in that ring. They really, really did. But when you mean to tell me that this was a good pay-per-view solely because of what we've seen in ring, that's not going to be the case. That is not going to be the case. There was no build, there was no excitement, there was no interest going into this pay-per-view at all, and because of that, it felt flat. You could have very easily made this pay-per-view something of interest, something to look forward to for SmackDown Live at the end of the year, and WWE decided to give us the most boring, lackadaisical, lackluster card that they can possibly concoct for this pay-per-view, and that's exactly what we've seen. The only excitement that came out of this pay-per-view and that saved this pay-per-view was what I already mentioned, the in-ring work of the talent, because WWE, whether you like them or not, has one of the best rosters in their history right now. In-ring, they have one of the best rosters in their history right now. And on top of that, what helped this pay-per-view out was the Boston crowd. That Boston crowd was on their game here tonight. And because they were on their game, they made this pay-per-view a lot better than what it was. You don't know how hype I got for that Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship match when the Aiden English and Rusev, I don't know why I said the Aiden English, but Aiden English and Rusev were out there singing the 12 Days of Christmas, and the crowd was going crazy every time Aiden English would get to the next day. And the crowd was going crazy chanting Rusev Day, Rusev Day. And when the Usos came out there, and they were just livid, they were erupt, they were eating everything on this show up. And that made this show a lot better than what it was, because they were excited for this show, and that thus made you a little bit more excited for this show, where WWE going into this gave you literally no reason to be excited for anything that we've seen on Clash of Champions here tonight. So thank you, Boston. WWE should be thanking you as well, because you guys did a phenomenal job as a crowd here tonight. You guys really, really did. And again, you got to give the props to everybody in that WWE locker room. I could tell you that everybody in these matches here tonight on that SmackDown Live locker room earned their paycheck here tonight. And I can honestly tell you that includes Jinder Mahal, which the WWE Championship matchup actually surprised me quite a bit. Jinder Mahal and AJ Styles put on a good matchup here tonight. By no means a great matchup, by no means even a very good matchup, but a good matchup. Very solid stuff from Jinder Mahal and AJ Styles here tonight. So it wasn't a completely terrible pay-per-view, but by no means was it good. By no means was it decent. I mean, it wasn't going to be any of that going into this, coming out of this. There was a lot of lull. during this pay-per-view. That first hour was good, and it had you hyped because you had the triple threat matchup where you're seeing great in-ring stuff, and it had the tag team matchup where you're seeing great in-ring stuff, but then you went to the women's matchup. But then you went to the Bludgeon Brothers versus Breezango, which was pretty much a squash match, and the momentum fell back down. It fell back down. And you went to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Randy Orton. And that match was slow until everything that needed to happen in that match happened. And really, there was a lot of lull. So this pay-per-view by no means was good. It was by no means good. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, it'd probably be a 5 out of 10 night for WWE here tonight. They lose a lot of points because they had no build coming into this pay-per-view, and a lot of these matches were not good. But compared to what I was expecting, this pay-per-view delivered something instead of nothing, and it ended up being pretty alright here tonight for the WWE Clash of Champions pay-per-view. But again, I reiterate, not a good pay-per-view by any means, because pay-per-views should not be excused as good when they had no build, when you had no interest going into it at all. I was literally sitting here before this pay-per-view went on air saying, crap, I need to sit through 3 hours of this garbage. My God. But thankfully the pay-per-view only went 2 hours and 45 minutes instead of a whole 3 hours, 15 extra minutes of sleep I will get here tonight. But that is besides the point. We're going to talk about everything going into Clash of Champions, not going into Clash of Champions, that happened at Clash of Champions here tonight. We're going to be talking the matches that happened. We're going to be talking what the results of these matches mean going forward for the WWE. We're going to be talking it all right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel regarding Clash of Champions. But of course, before we do get into that, of course, I want you guys to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. A lot of content this week on the channel on Monday and Tuesday. Of course, like always, after Raw and Smackdown went off the air, you had your Raw and Smackdown reviews. Smackdown was the go-home show to this very pay-per-view. So if you missed that show and you want to know what led us into Clash of Champions, we had the Smackdown live review on Tuesday, and of course Monday Night Raw review. We're talking everything that happened on that show, the continuation of the Woken Matt Hardy stuff, Roman Reigns and his Intercontinental Championship defense against Cesaro, Braun Strowman versus Kane to determine the number one contender to the Universal Championship. If you missed any of that, if you want an educated opinion on any of that or both, make sure to go check out your Raw and Smackdown reviews. Then on Wednesday, we had a breaking news video because the news dropped of WWE and a mixed match challenge that they are putting out in January on Facebook. We're talking all the details regarding that, why that's happening, all of that right there. Wednesday breaking news video. Then on Thursday, you had your Clash of Champions preview and predictions. And just earlier today, video that had nothing to do with Clash of Champions. It was Behind the Mic episode number 49, talking all the biggest news in the WWE for the week. So if you missed the Behind the Mic that happened earlier today, make sure to go check that one out. That's the one I want you guys to go check out. We were talking huge news regarding Vince McMahon looking to revive the failed XFL football league that happened, that was going on back in like 2001, I believe. We were talking huge news on that, as well as New Japan looking to compete with the WWE, John Cena going over to a part-time schedule, Randy Orton possibly taking time off. We were talking all that right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel on Behind the Mic episode number 49 earlier in the day. So of course, if you did miss Behind the Mic, make sure to go check that out because we were talking huge news on there. And of course, content coming, Clash of Champions was the final pay-per-view of the year. So after today, probably on Wednesday and Thursday, days I'm really not uploading anything, we're going to be starting end of the year top 10s. Yep, you heard me correct. End of the year top 10s. We're going to be doing top 10 matches, top 10 wrestlers of the year, top 10 worst wrestlers of the year, probably top 10 pay-per-views of the year, ranking the WWE pay-per-views this year, because I mean, realistically, there weren't good pay-per-views this year. I could do a top 10 worst pay-per-views of the year. I don't know how we're going to do that, because pretty much all the pay-per-views were garbage this year. But going to be doing a multitude of end of the year content. So if you do not want to miss any of that, make sure to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Of course, make sure to smash that like button. And the question of the day, I want to ask you guys what you think is going to be AJ Styles, or who you think is going to be AJ Styles' opponent for the WWE Championship going into the Royal Rumble, because clearly AJ Styles after tonight surpassed the hurdle of Jinder Mahal. So I'm asking you guys who you think he's going to be facing going into the Royal Rumble. Multitude of names: Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Randy Orton. I don't think they're going to do Shinsuke Nakamura, but we've seen crazier things. Shinsuke Nakamura, maybe a Bobby Roode. You got so many names on Smackdown Live who can challenge AJ Styles for that WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. We're going to be talking about that later in the review, but I want you guys to give me your opinion as to who AJ Styles should be facing going into the Royal Rumble. So leave it in the comment section below. Make sure to leave a reply, because I'll be leaving the comment. You guys just have to reply under my comment and tell me what you guys think, because your opinion is just as important as mine. But that for now is besides the point, because we are talking Clash of Champions, and it was Clash of Champions 2017 here tonight live from Boston, Massachusetts. And the show started off with, of course, a United States Championship triple threat match. It was the glorious Bobby Roode against Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. Now, this was a very good in-ring matchup, no doubt about it. Now, was there any hype going into this matchup? No, it was built like garbage, and there was no reason for Dolph Ziggler to be in this matchup. Yet, he ends up walking out of this matchup your new United States Champion. Now, there's a reason WWE did this, and the reason WWE did this is because it's Clash of Champions. All of the titles are on the line. We need some type of title change, and we don't want to give it to Bobby Roode just yet. We want that title to change hands here tonight, so why not throw it on Ziggler, right? Throw it on Ziggler. You gotta be kidding me with that one. Isn't Dolph Ziggler a Grand Slam champion now? Or has Dolph Ziggler never won tag team championships? I'm not sure, but Dolph Ziggler wins the United States Championship here tonight. First of all, this was a surprisingly good matchup, because they didn't allow it to just be Corbin getting 10 minutes straight of offense, which helped this match a lot, actually. It was back and forth between Baron Corbin, Bobby Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. And this was a damn good matchup. You had some nice exchanges between all three men, like when Roode hit a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rock bottom on Ziggler, and he went straight into a deep six by Corbin for a near fall. There was a Tower of Doom spot as well for a near fall, as well as a great exchange between Roode and Ziggler, where Ziggler, he tried for a super kick, but ate a spine buster, and when Roode tried for the glorious DDT, Ziggler sidestepped it, and he got a big jumping DDT of his own, which looked damn good. There was a super near fall where Roode hit the glorious DDT on Dolph Ziggler, and I thought they were going to do that spot where Baron Corbin throws Bobby Roode out and he steals the pin. But instead, it was Bobby Roode who threw Baron Corbin out, got the 1, got the 2, and Baron Corbin takes him by the leg, drags him out of the ring so Bobby Roode nor Baron Corbin get it, and Baron Corbin hits a beautiful choke slam backbreaker on Bobby Roode, throws him into the ring, and that leads to the end of the matchup, which was actually a very, very beautiful ending. It was Baron Corbin who hit the end of days on Bobby Roode, but as Baron Corbin hit the end of days on Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler was hitting the zigzag on Corbin, and that allowed him to pick up the victory and win the United States Championship. So that was a very, very nice ending to the matchup as well. I thought that spot looked very, very beautiful, but there's no way Dolph Ziggler should have won the United States Championship. I mean, what was this guy doing before this matchup? How did he earn his way to the United States Championship matchup? And there's a very clear answer to that. He did not earn his way to a United States Championship matchup. Dolph Ziggler was literally put in this matchup for the sake of being put in this matchup, for the sake of, I don't know, I'm guessing getting everybody on the last pay-per-view of the year or something. There's no reason in my mind why Dolph Ziggler was even in this matchup. My thought was, alright, you got Baron Corbin, you got Bobby Roode, you don't want either of these guys to take a pin, so throw Dolph Ziggler in there, and Dolph Ziggler's going to be eating the pin. Instead, he's the one giving the pin and winning the matchup, which absolutely shocked me. This, like I said, was WWE saying, well, it's Clash of Champions, all our titles are on the line, and we need one title change, at least one title change, because we're WWE, and that's logic to us, that there at least needs to be one title change. So instead of doing the logical title change and giving the title to Bobby Roode, I guess WWE said, well, it's too early for that, and instead of keeping the title on Baron Corbin and having it be Bobby Roode and Baron Corbin going into the Royal Rumble, where I guess that would be the right time and you give the title to Bobby Roode there. Instead, what do? You have Dolph Ziggler win this matchup. So I'm guessing it's going to be Baron Corbin or Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler feuding for the United States Championship, or is this just going to continue to be a triple threat scenario? I don't understand it. Or is just Bobby Roode going to take a break from this entire scenario? Is he just going to be leaving this entire scenario and maybe, like I was saying, go into a WWE Championship matchup with AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble? Because right now the spot for who's facing AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble is vacant. So I don't know how WWE is going to go about that. It makes no sense to me for Dolph Ziggler to have won the title. I thought Dolph Ziggler was going to be in this matchup. He takes the pin. Baron Corbin wins the United States title, and you go from there. Bobby Roode still has a claim because he never got pinned. Or you have Bobby Roode win the title, and the rematch is at the Royal Rumble for the United States Championship between Baron Corbin and Bobby Roode. And Dolph Ziggler fades away into obscurity. But now, this just leaves me dumbfounded and asking more questions than I came in asking. So, I don't understand it, but that's what Smackdown Live is for on Tuesday, and we're going to be answering that question, and I guess that just gives us more incentive to watch SmackDown Live on Tuesday. Hopefully they do this the correct way. Hopefully they do this the exciting way, and maybe Baron Corbin takes a boot and he's out of the championship scenario. What I would do is have the rematch on Tuesday. Have it be Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler on Tuesday. And I guess you have Baron Corbin lose, and you move Baron Corbin onto different things. Maybe they want to do Baron Corbin versus AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship. That wouldn't be my preferred scenario. I don't want to see Baron Corbin in that position, but that's very well something you can do. I don't know. I have just ideas flowing as we speak. But WWE can do a lot of things with this scenario. What I say you do is you keep this one-on-one. I am tired of multi-man matches. There's no need for more multi-man matches in the WWE. I want to single this United States Championship picture to one-on-one. And I'd rather see Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode than Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode, or Baron Corbin and anybody in a single scenario. So I don't know how they're going to go about this, but WWE got some explaining to do. we move on to the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team matchup. And this, again, in ring, was a very, very good matchup. And the crowd for this matchup was awesome, bro. Before we do get into this, there was some segments. There were some backstage segments. It was Daniel Bryan. He was telling a production member backstage to get him a smaller ref t-shirt, with Shane McMahon walking in and saying that maybe Daniel Bryan shouldn't put it on at all, with Daniel saying that Shane has been a bit of a hothead and he clearly has it out for Owens and Zayn, so he is going to be there. Shane said, alright, maybe I have been a hothead, but how is this going to work? And Daniel Bryan suggested that they talk about that in private for some goddamn reason. So this segment ended as such. Then we had Baron Corbin. He was interviewed about his United States title loss, and he just got pissed off, and he threw a garbage can backstage. So there you go with that one. That leads us to the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team bout. It was Aiden English and Rusev versus The New Day versus the Usos versus Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Aiden English and Rusev, bro, got a thunderous ovation as they led us through the 12 days of Rusev. Oh my God. Every single day there was a huge pop, huge Rusev Day chants. These guys are over. And I think since these guys are so over, the Usos might have competition for the best tag team in WWE. The WWE gets behind these guys and books Rusev and Aiden English correctly, and they see, wow, these guys are over. These guys can sell merch if we get behind these guys, and they start booking these guys correctly, like a top-notch tag team. I think these guys can do very, very big things in the tag team division. I mean, Rusev and Aiden English aren't two guys who would necessarily be doing anything if they were singles competitors. So this is the best case scenario for Rusev and Aiden English. They somehow, with this Rusev Day gimmick, got themselves over. I love the gimmick. It is funny as hell. You can use it in any scenario, and especially with the holidays being around, Rusev, that's funny. That is funny. Rusev Day is funny if you use it very correctly, and that's what WWE's been doing. The crowd loves it. Everybody loves it, bro. And if WWE doesn't do that thing that they always do, that when something is over, they just love to shut it down, whether it's Bad News Barrett or it's tag team with Cesaro and Jack Swagger, or Cesaro and whoever it may be. Cesaro's been in multiple tag teams that have just gotten over dynamically, and they just shut that down multiple times. Jack Swagger being the primary example of that. Tyson Kidd got injured, so that was unfortunate for Cesaro. But, I mean, there's so many times where WWE has seen these gimmicks get over naturally. And Zack Ryder, he's another example. He got over naturally, and they just buried these guys. So hopefully they don't do that with Rusev and Aiden English, because these guys right now have some momentum behind them. Boston here tonight was eating out of the palm of these guys' hands, and I mean, realistically, WWE should take advantage of this, because go back to interviews the Usos and the New Day were doing earlier this year, and they were saying that they want to get tag teams to the level that the New Day and the Usos were at when they were feuding and having all these fantastic matches over and over and over again. And their goal was to get about 6 tag teams to that position by the end of 2018. I think you got your next tag team in that equation in Aiden English and Rusev. The Smackdown Live Tag Team division is looking really, really good right now. You got the New Day, you got the Usos, you got Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, you got the Bludgeon Brothers, you got Rusev and Aiden English, Breezango, who may or not be split, may be or may not be splitting up from what I'm hearing. You got a couple tag teams on SmackDown Live who are pretty legitimate. You got a division, especially compared to Monday Night Raw, who has literally nothing. So, good shit. Good shit indeed. Anyways, after Aiden English was done with his shtick, the rest of the teams came out. The Usos, in particular, they came out on fire, saying that Aiden English isn't on The Voice, but since he wants to sing about the 12 days of Christmas, they got a song for them going through all the days and how they have the division on lockdown. So they were like, 12 days, lockdown. 11 days, lockdown. 10 days, lockdown. 9 days, lockdown. You get the point from there. So they continued that, and they said, welcome to the Uso Penitentiary. You just had the Usos. They're a cool-ass tag team. You already know the deal. But this matchup, this worked the way it should have worked. It was like a fatal four-way with 4 guys in the ring and 4 guys on the corner waiting to be tagged in. This was a very good matchup. And they had us like goats at one point. They really did. Teasing the Rusev Day win, bro. They had Chad Gable with Kofi Kingston in a knee bar, and Rusev came in, took him out, and Aiden English hit him with this big Michinoku driver from the fireman's carry position for a big near fall. Had the crowd going legit bonkers, bro. Then Rusev tags in, locks in the accolade on Chad Gable. He survives because the New Day comes in, almost hits the midnight hour on Rusev, but Aiden English takes down Kofi, who was on the top rope, of course, and Big E takes a big super kick from Rusev. Another near fall, crowd going crazy. He then locks in the accolade on Big E. Again, the crowd is going crazy. And at this point, me sitting here was going crazy because Rusev Day, with all the momentum they had, bro, I wanted them to win at that point in the matchup. Then Chad Gable dared to come in, and he just hit a multitude of beautiful, and I mean beautiful, German suplexes. This Chad Gable is the shit, bro. He really, really is. When it comes to Chad Gable's in-ring ability, this guy is amazing. His strength, bro, holy crap. 2 huge guys like Rusev and like Rusev and Big E, he was able to deadlift German suplex these guys. It was goddamn crazy. It was a visual, a sight to behold. Anyways, he was suplexing everybody around. Aiden English, Big E, Rusev, you already know. And he tried to do the same with one of the Usos, but the other Uso came in, got him down from powerbomb position, hit Chad Gable with the super kick, and it was donezo from there. They hit the frog splash, and 1, 2, 3, they pin Chad Gable to win this matchup. I think the Usos have their next opponents in this tag team division, and I think that is very well Rusev Day, Rusev and Aiden English against the Usos. I think that's a matchup, especially after tonight, that everybody wants to see, bro. And I think Philadelphia at the Royal Rumble would go absolutely crazy to see that tag team championship matchup. I know I want to see that tag team championship matchup at the Royal Rumble. That sounds absolutely amazing if WWE were to put that on. Because, I mean, realistically, Rusev Day, they're trying to rival the Usos for the best tag team in the WWE right now. I mean, as far as in-ring work goes, I think the Usos have had more opportunities to prove themselves with the matches that they've had against the New Day, against the Bar at Survivor Series, even here tonight against Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin as well. The Usos have put on some great matches throughout 2017, but there's no doubt about it that Rusev and Aiden English are probably the most over tag team right now in the WWE. That was wild, the reception that they got here tonight, and I think this is the beginning of a bright future for Rusev and Aiden English in this tag team if WWE does indeed allow these guys to go. And I think they very well should allow these guys to go in that ring and as a tag team, because as so far they're putting on some fantastic work. Our Rusev and Aiden English, really the breakouts in this matchup here tonight. Charlotte versus Natalya in a lumberjack match. Now those two first matches had us pretty well. They had us doing pretty well. I mean, what we saw in the ring in that triple threat matchup, good, very good. What we saw in the ring in that fatal four-way, what we saw from the crowd in that fatal four-way, and that how they reacted to Rusev Day, great. Charlotte versus Natalya, this lumberjack match brought that to a complete halt. This match was nothing at all that you can consider special. It was exactly what you would expect from a lumberjack match. Mediocre, botch fest, trash. If there's one thing that this match accomplished, it just gave Botchamania a lot of content for their upcoming video, bro. That's what this matchup did. It gave Botchamania a lot of content. My lord. This match broke down into a brawl between all the lumberjacks like 3 goddamn times. You were sick of these women brawling by the time this one was over. For all the baby faces, so this broke into a brawl for all the baby faces to get a big spot. Like Naomi, she got a big springboard crossbody onto all the women. And then Charlotte with her moonsault off the top, right? Anyways, Carmella even attempted to cash in at one point in this matchup, but she just got trampled by all the women who were brawling, right? But, I mean, in the end it was Charlotte who did the moonsault, and Natalya tried to take advantage and lock in the sharpshooter, but Charlotte locked in the figure 8 to win anyway. So Natalya, she was interviewed after the matchup, and this interview was awful. The interviewer was awful as well. My God, sounded like a goddamn robot, but that seems to be the common nowadays in the WWE. She was interviewed saying that Charlotte used her family name to get the advantage, and she has put on some of the best matches on as the women's division, if I could speak here. She's put on some of the best matches the women's division has ever seen, saying that she has carried the women's division on her back, saying that if we're done with her, she's done with us too. So she walked off crying as the crowd ate her alive with booze. Who cares, bro? This women's division is probably in its worst state that it has ever been. My God, does the women's division need a shakeup, bro? There needs to be some type of trade going on. I would move Charlotte. Actually, Charlotte needs to lose the title before that happens. But I'd move Charlotte and like Becky or Charlotte and Naomi to Monday Night Raw, and I'd move Sasha and Bayley over to SmackDown Live. Why would I do that, you ask? Because Sasha and Bayley could have their feud. You can turn Sasha heel, and Sasha and Bayley could have their feud on SmackDown Live for the SmackDown Women's Championship going into WrestleMania. And then you can have Charlotte versus Asuka going into WrestleMania. Or at least that's what I would have done. Or at least that's what I would have done if WWE didn't introduce all these garbage factions into their women's divisions. And you also want to do the 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen thing going into WrestleMania with Ronda Rousey, Jessamine Duke, Shayna Baszler, right? And then Charlotte, Sasha, Becky, and Bayley. So you want to do that. So you're probably going to be having all those women occupied at WrestleMania. So what are you going to do with the Women's Championship? Who's going to be holding the Women's Championship on SmackDown Live? Naomi or something? Are you going to do Naomi versus Ruby Riott or something going into WrestleMania? That sounds absolutely terrible. That sounds absolutely terrible. That does not sound WrestleMania worthy to me. What are you going to do on Raw? Probably Paige and Asuka, if you ask me. But at least that sounds passable. I mean, I don't know what they're building towards here. The end goal, at least if you ask me, is WrestleMania. And from what I'm hearing right now, it's WWE trying to build towards a Royal Rumble, Women's Royal Rumble. Right now, both of these women's divisions are god-awful. I don't want to see any of these women in a Royal Rumble. Only reason you'd have a Royal Rumble is to have Asuka win it and go into WrestleMania against whoever the Raw Women's Champion is. I don't even know. I don't even know what they're going to do at this point. I don't even know. These women are just in absolute peril. I I'm mind-boggled as to what they're going to do here. I really, really am. We move on to the Bludgeon Brothers versus Breezango. This was basically a squash match. This was a basic squash match for the Bludgeon Brothers, and that's exactly how it should be. I mean, these guys are dominant. There's no reason Breezango, who we haven't seen on television in God knows how long, these guys have been on the Fashion Files, which is unfortunate. People are saying that this is going to be the end of the Fashion Files and that this is going to be the end of Breezango. I mean, considering the tag team division that we have now, if you wanted to have Breezango be legitimate competition in this tag team division, you can do exactly that. You can have these guys in there, in the mix every single week against Rusev and Aiden English, against the Usos, against the New Day, against whatchamacallit, who was the other team? Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. These are all matches we haven't seen. This is a completely revitalized tag team division. But it seems, for some reason, that they've kept these guys, Breezango, isolated from everybody else. And they've really lost a lot of momentum because of that. The Fashion Files was very, very good. And that was very, very good because they had Breezango on television wrestling matches. We haven't seen them in a matchup for like months before this here tonight. So hopefully these guys don't break up just yet, and we can see them in a couple matches because these guys are fantastic and serviceable in the ring. But what I think they're going to be doing at this point is maybe breaking these guys up, or at least that's what I've been hearing that's going to happen, that they're going to break these guys up. And I mean, I wouldn't be against that. Tyler Breeze is an absolutely fantastic in-ring performer. Maybe you can throw him into the mid-card, challenging for that United States Championship. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I mean, you can do a lot of good things with these guys. These guys are very, very good in the ring. Breezango, squash you tonight. But the Bludgeon Brothers continue to be on a path of destruction. And if you ask me, at this point, what I would do going into WrestleMania is I would build up the Usos versus the Bludgeon Brothers. That sounds like the biggest matchup you can do on SmackDown Live right now. Maybe have the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers at the Royal Rumble. Have the Bludgeon Brothers run through the entire division and keep them away from the Usos until you're completely ready to build towards WrestleMania. And I think that's a tag team championship matchup that a lot of people are going to want to see after months of the Bludgeon Brothers just dominating everything. I mean, I think that's the way you do it. But I don't know, that's just me. Tell me what you guys think of that in the comment section below. Bludgeon Brothers dominating win. They won after sending Tyler Breeze face first into the apron, which actually looked pretty damn brutal, and hitting Fandango with the double team finisher, which I don't know what that's called. They grabbed him by the arms and pretty much slammed him into the mat. So there you go with that one. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens were interviewed about why Daniel Bryan is the second special guest referee, because he is the only reasonable thing about SmackDown Live, and he's trying to prevent Shane McMahon from screwing him over in this matchup, is what Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens said. They were asked about not winning, what if they're fired, to which Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens had no response. That led us into their matchup, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura. And this was an alright matchup, but it was all meant to build towards the controversy between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, who I believe both had sides of the ring. This was the way this was working with the double referees. Both of them had a side of the ring, and if a fall happened on Daniel's side of the ring, he would count, while a fall that happened on Shane's side of the ring, he would count. So the spot of the match was Kevin Owens getting a frog splash on Shinsuke Nakamura through the table, which took Shinsuke Nakamura out of this matchup. In the ring, Orton hit an RKO on Sami Zayn, but Owens pushed Daniel onto Shane McMahon to stop the count, and that immediately started an argument between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. Again, building dissension here between the two. Randy Orton hit an RKO on Kevin Owens, taking him out of the matchup. So Kevin Owens was bye-bye. He was gone from this matchup. So that just left Sami Zayn and Sami Zayn and Randy Orton, who both traded pinfalls while they were in a cradle pin. Sami Zayn then managed to get a roll-up on Owens, which was counted by Shane McMahon, and it was a 3. But Shane held the count, which led to more arguing between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon. And in the end, it was Sami Zayn who got another roll-up on Randy Orton, which Daniel Bryan counted super fast. It was a fast count, but on top of that, it was on Shane McMahon's side of the ring, and it allowed Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to win. So clearly, this was building more dissension between Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. Still, no official heel turn, and everybody was speculating that something big was going to happen in this matchup. Realistically, nothing big really happened, but there was just more and more dissension created between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon in this matchup, and Daniel Bryan pretty much took the side of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I mean, I really don't see Daniel Bryan going heel, but sooner or later, one of them is going to need to go heel, and what I'm hearing from a lot of people is that this is going to result in a matchup in the official in-ring return of Daniel Bryan. Now, I'm not sure about that. I am really going to refrain from officially telling you, yeah, this is going to lead to Daniel Bryan stepping back into a ring. Would I like to see it go down that way? Yes. But do I think it's going to go down that way? If I have to be quite honest, I don't think so. I don't think WWE is just going to allow this to happen. I mean, they built to something happening between Daniel Bryan and The Miz for so long on SmackDown Live, but realistically, nothing ever happened at this exact same time last year. So we got this thing going on with Shane McMahon, and it could result in something, but it would have to be maybe a team Daniel Bryan versus a team Shane McMahon, where they're being represented by something, is what I'm guessing, because this is not a in-ring Shane McMahon against an in-ring Daniel Bryan. This is the commissioner Shane McMahon versus the general manager Daniel Bryan. So I don't know what this is going to result in. Maybe it's going to result in a matchup where it's going to decide who the main power of SmackDown Live is going to be. Only one of them will get to run SmackDown Live, and that's going to be decided by maybe an in-ring matchup between the two, or maybe a matchup where both of them pick what in-ring competitors they want to fight for them. So maybe Daniel Bryan will pick a Kevin Owens, and Shane McMahon will pick Randy Orton, or maybe Daniel Bryan will pick a Sami Zayn, and Shane McMahon will pick Shinsuke Nakamura, and you can have that. So I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know what this is going to result in, but that's another thing that we're going to have to wait till SmackDown Live to see. WWE can go multiple ways with this, but where this is most unpredictable is whether or not Shane McMahon, or should I say Daniel Bryan, is going to get back inside a WWE ring, because that's what everybody wants it to result in. And that's probably what WWE is just dangling over everybody's head. They're saying, what, you want it? You want it? Well, you're going to have to tune into SmackDown Live. That's probably what everybody has, or WWE has, dangling over everybody's head. But I'm just going to refrain from saying anything, because I don't know. WWE likes to be tricky with this. They really do. And Daniel Bryan, he has been talking more and more about getting back inside that ring. And I think this was a bigger step towards that than ever before. So Daniel Bryan could be getting back inside that ring. This feud, I feel, between Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon is officially underway. This match had pretty much kicked that off. I mean, they were arguing right in the middle of that ring. I would be surprised if Shane McMahon didn't want to goddamn kill Daniel Bryan after that one. Because Daniel Bryan single-handedly saved the careers of Shane McMahon, or should I say Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and he had to play it dirty in order to do that. So I don't know who's going to come up as the heel in this scenario. I would doubt that it was Daniel Bryan, because who the hell is going to boo Daniel Bryan? I would see them booing more Shane McMahon than Daniel Bryan if they would boo any of these guys at all. So there you go with that one. That's what I think about that. For For now, we move on to the main event, and that, of course, is Jinder Mahal, the modern-day failure Raha, versus the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. And I will give it to Jinder Mahal. Actually, I must say I'll give it to AJ Styles. He brought Jinder Mahal to a very good matchup here tonight. Not a very good matchup, a good matchup here tonight. But Jinder Mahal, I'll give it this to him. He brought out his A game. That's what Jinder Mahal did. He brought out some moves we've never seen from him before. I'll give him that. I will give him that. But realistically, there was nothing to be excited about going into this matchup. And for a lot of this matchup, I was just like, ugh. Because realistically, I wanted just to see this end. I wanted to see this end. We've seen the climax of this feud when AJ Styles beat Jinder Mahal for that WWE Championship, and I said that on my preview predictions, that we've seen the climax of this feud. We have seen it. There's nothing else to look forward to from this feud. We just wanted it to end after here tonight, and thankfully it is over. And thankfully AJ Styles did retain his WWE Championship, because quite honestly, if he didn't, there would have been trouble, bro. There were so many times in this matchup where WWE teased us. So many times. Let's go over the matchup, and I'll give you my final opinion here. The ribs of AJ Styles were targeted during this entire matchup. Jinder Mahal brutally threw AJ Styles into the timekeeper's area. Rib first. He hit a spinning type suplex on top of the table. Jinder brought some moves out, like I said, that we haven't seen before. He hit a shell shock type move, like if he was Ryback. He hit a nice kick on AJ Styles for a near fall, and AJ Styles cut those kickouts close, bro. He really, really did. He did that Kurt Angle type kick out, where, yeah, it was a 3, but realistically, AJ Styles was just making the matchup just like, wow, oh my god. That was a 3, but the referee like kind of cut the count. So he did that Kurt Angle type kick out, right? But WWE tried to scare the crap out of us in this matchup. Everybody in the arena was going freaking crazy when AJ Styles hit a knee to the back of the head and the Colossus after Styles attempted to hit the phenomenal forearm, but Jinder Mahal hit the Colossus and everybody thought it was over. AJ Styles kicked out. That was a beautiful near fall if I've ever seen one. AJ teased hitting the Styles Clash, or Jinder Mahal teased hitting the Styles Clash himself. I was like, my god, are you really going to see Jinder Mahal hit the Styles Clash? But AJ Styles, he jumped up into powerbomb position, back onto his feet, and quick like a fly is AJ Styles. He immediately rolls that into a calf crusher on Jinder Mahal, and surprisingly, it's the calf crusher that has Jinder Mahal tapping out and AJ Styles retaining the WWE Championship in this matchup. So once again, this just goes to show you the in-ring ability of AJ Styles, being able to bring a guy like Jinder Mahal to a watchable match, who not even Shinsuke Nakamura was able to do that. Not even Randy Orton was able to do that. But AJ Styles, he was able to do that. So that just speaks to the in-ring ability of AJ Styles and how good he is in the ring. Because AJ Styles, or should I say Jinder Mahal, is absolutely terrible in that ring. There's no excusing Jinder Mahal's in-ring skills. He is terrible on most nights. But what Jinder Mahal and AJ Styles did here tonight, I actually enjoyed the matchup somewhat, I should say. So I'll give them credits to that regard. But what I'm happy about is that we can all move on from this, and we can move on to AJ Styles having some real competition for that WWE Championship, and for us to see a feud between AJ Styles that's actually going to result in a good matchup and is actually going to give us some quality television on Smackdown Live, because I've been saying this realistically for months. The center of WWE television is what we see in that WWE Championship picture. On SmackDown Live, the WWE Championship picture has been riddled with Jinder Mahal. So SmackDown Live has a direct correlation. If the main thing on your show is garbage, SmackDown Live has been garbage. Now AJ Styles, he is the main thing, along with who he's feuding with. He's the main thing on SmackDown Live. So right then and there, your main program is going to be great. Hopefully they do find a good opponent for AJ Styles though. What I suggested is they turn Randy Orton heel. That's a suggestion of mine. Turn Randy Orton heel, have him feud with AJ Styles going into the Royal Rumble. Give us a dream match in that regard. Maybe you take Bobby Roode out of the United States Championship picture and you put him against AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble and you give us a dream match right there. I don't know. That sounds like a good one if you ask me. That sounds like a great one if you ask me right there. You got multiple talents on SmackDown Live. Give us Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles. Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles sounds absolutely amazing. And Kevin Owens in his corner. Bada boom shakalaka. Royal Rumble match for the ages right there. So you can do a lot of things with AJ Styles on SmackDown Live. There's a lot of people to fight AJ Styles going into the Royal Rumble. It's going to be exciting to see on SmackDown Live all the new feuds, or hopefully new feuds, because you're probably going to have a new tag team championship feud. You for sure, at least you better have a new WWE championship feud. I expect Jinder Mahal to be off WWE television or on WWE television, but very minimally. If we do see Jinder Mahal on WWE television, I would expect it to be building towards the Royal Rumble, and after the Royal Rumble, maybe it's going to be slowing down for Jinder Mahal. I really don't want to see Jinder Mahal going into a matchup at WrestleMania. Just keep this guy off television for a while. If we do see Jinder Mahal in something, what I would do with Jinder Mahal is don't move this guy down to the mid card. Have this guy in a tag team. Look at the wonders that being in a tag team did for Rusev. Why not find a way for Jinder Mahal to be in a tag team? Maybe move him into something different right there. I mean, why the hell does Jinder Mahal need to be in a singles atmosphere when this guy is absolutely terrible in the ring? Just hopefully he's off WWE television. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if WWE had Jinder Mahal come out again and challenge AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. But hopefully WWE is not that thick-headed. Hopefully they are not that simple-minded. Hopefully we can see something well and good going into the Royal Rumble. But that's just going to depend on what we see on SmackDown Live on Tuesday. As far as Clash of Champions goes, it was not a completely terrible pay-per-view like I expected it to be. There were some things to watch on that pay-per-view, not necessarily things that I would urge you to go back and watch if you did miss this pay-per-view, but a okay showing for WWE overall at this pay-per-view. But realistically, like we expected going into this pay-per-view, there was nothing to see. This pay-per-view had a crappy card, a crappy build, and for the most part, a lot of the things we've seen on the show came out to be pretty crappy. The only thing that helped the show was the crowd and the fact that these in-ring competitors brought their A game. Besides that, there was nothing to really see on Clash of Champions 2017. For now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. Of course, make sure to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, pay-per-view reviews, pay-per-view preview and predictions, NXT TakeOver reviews, NXT TakeOver preview and predictions, breaking news, your weekend presentation, behind the mic, top 10s coming, all that and so much more right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. So if any of that content interests you, make sure to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, of course, for all the content regarding the WWE. Like I always say, if you have not subscribed yet, I do not know what you are waiting for, and when I say that, I mean it. Subscribe. Make sure to smash that like button and answer the question of the day. Who do you think should face AJ Styles for the WWE Championship going into the Royal Rumble? For now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment, and for now, I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I will see you tomorrow for your Monday Night Raw review.